take the time to make sure it's the best it can possibly be, because it doesn't matter. I mean, I acknowledge I have a massive unfair advantage by, having the entertainment industry.
Blake Lively's image often screams glamour and carefree charm. She's the red carpet fashionista and a devoted mom whose banter with her A-list husband can set social media aflame. But if you tug at the threads of this glossy public persona, you may find stories of power plays, co-star clashes, and behind-the-scenes battles that rarely make headline news. Is there more to Blake's Hollywood life than meets the eye? Or is she just another victim of swirling rumors that stick to any big-name celebrity? Let's unravel the rumors and figure out how one of Hollywood's apparent sweethearts garnered a reputation so complicated that it's been whispered about by everyone from curious fans to outspoken industry insiders. By the end, you might see an entirely different side of Blake Lively, and maybe even question whether all this hype is truth or just overheated gossip. When Barbie hit theaters, it wasn't just the candy-hued sets and blockbuster box office numbers that had people buzzing. Off camera, rumors suggested an entirely different drama swirling around Blake Lively and Margot Robbie. According to some insiders, Blake was dying to be part of Greta Gerwig's pastel-colored phenomenon, but under her own terms. She allegedly wanted top billing, significant creative control, and a slew of script modifications. Margot Robbie, both the film's star and a producer through Lucky Chap Entertainment, apparently wasn't on board with that plan. Some say Margot tried to maintain the film's collective star power approach. The ensemble cast, from Issa, Ray to Dua Lipa, was meant to represent a modern, diverse take on the classic doll. If the chatter holds any weight, Blake Lively, accustomed to commanding her projects, didn't plan to be just one Barbie among many. She wanted the leading Barbie spotlight. Once Margot and director Greta Gerwig stood firm, that's when tension started blazing. Sources paint a picture of quiet confrontation. No massive blowout fights, but a clash of egos behind carefully closed doors. Blake, who had apparently been in serious talks, vanished from the film so discreetly that the media never caught wind of the conflict until months later. Maybe Margot Robbie's brand of subtlety served her well. Without a public meltdown, Barbie went on to rake in over $1 billion globally. Nobody in the audience finished the film wishing for Blake Lively's cameo. And that fact might sting the most if she had high hopes of turning Barbie into a personal star vehicle. But that wasn't the only place where production drama was brewing. If you think the Barbie story is intense, wait until you hear about the set of It Ends With Us and how everything spiraled into a rumored legal fiasco. Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, It Ends With Us, has sparked intense anticipation since the movie adaptation was announced. Fans of the tear-jerking story were over the moon when Justin Baldoni jumped on board to direct and star, but the excitement took a turn for the bizarre once Blake Lively was cast. At first, people celebrated. Two attractive, talented stars attached to a beloved romance novel. What could go wrong? Plenty, according to insiders. Word on the street is that Blake and Justin clashed almost immediately over creative direction. She allegedly demanded changes to the script, sought to amplify her character's presence, and might have even tried to rework storylines that didn't revolve around her. Sound familiar? The tabloids began hinting at friction, and soon those rumors morphed into something more ominous: a potential lawsuit. While the specifics remain murky, there's talk that Blake considered filing or threatened to file claims of ex-harassment when she felt overshadowed or creatively dismissed. Justin Baldoni, for his part, was blindsided according to gossip whispers. One moment it seemed they were collaborating. The next, everything was overshadowed by this rumored legal mess. Suddenly, the project's buzz changed from eager romance fans to a swirl of half-baked stories about heated arguments and potential court dates. The entire fiasco left industry folks murmuring. Was this meltdown a one-off power struggle or part of a larger pattern with Blake Lively? To dig deeper into that question, let's rewind to the early 2010s, when Blake allegedly found herself entangled, briefly and quietly, with none other than Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling's name was all over Barbie, the dreamy Ken to Margot Robbie's sparkly, complicated Barbie. But well before pink plastic sets and global box office triumphs, Gosling's path briefly crossed with Blake Lively's in the rumor mill. The two were spotted out and about in what seemed like hush-hush get-togethers, sending fans into speculations. Overdrive. One day the paparazzi caught them laughing on a sidewalk. The next day, everything fizzled. So what happened? No official explanation ever surfaced, but some whispers hint that Blake wanted more than a quick fling, while Gosling's schedule, and perhaps his personal preferences, didn't align. He soon dived into other projects, and eventually linked with Eva Mendes, while Blake pivoted to a short-lived fling with Leonardo DiCaprio, then famously ended up with Ryan Reynolds. How does this connect to Barbie? Fast forward years later, and there's Ryan Gosling next to Margot Robbie, receiving the star treatment and lavish gifts from his co-star and producer to ensure he'd take on the Ken role. The synergy between Robbie and Gosling was a marketing dream. If rumors about Blake Lively's involvement were true, it's possible any lingering awkwardness over that brief Gosling connection made negotiations even messier. Imagine wanting to star in a major project that also features an old flame, who might not even return your texts. Cue tension and potential embarrassment. Some speculate that if Blake had joined Barbie, we might have had a rerun of the It Ends With Us fiasco, especially if she demanded bigger scenes opposite Ryan Gosling, or overshadowed Margot Robbie's. Creative vision. You can almost see the tabloids brewing headlines of Blake Lively tries to take over Barbie, sparks on-set war. With those stakes, maybe it's no surprise that behind closed doors, producers, cast, or maybe even Gosling himself gently moved on without her. The show must go on, and so it did, spectacularly. But Ryan Gosling isn't the only co-star with rumored tension. Enter Anna Kendrick, and the swirl of drama that once again positions Blake Lively at the center of suspicion. Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick's film, A Simple Favor, was pitched as a darkly comedic thriller with stylish flair and a promising duo of leading ladies. Fans expected witty interviews, BFF energy, and fun press tours, like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants days, but more grown up. Instead, the promotional circuit exuded a strange chill. Observant viewers noticed that whenever Anna and Blake appeared together, they seemed distant. No inside jokes, no playful ribbing, and only forced politeness. A wired, autocomplete interview featuring the pair left fans cringing. Anna seemed game to banter, while Blake offered minimal engagement. On social media, Blake's typical approach of archiving posts set off alarm bells. She removed nearly everything, except a cryptic reference to A Simple Favor, pointedly not tagging Anna Kendrick. Then, in some behind-the-scenes shots, Anna was nowhere to be found in the captions or credits. Speculation erupted. Did these two really hate each other? Or was it standard Hollywood superficiality? When news broke that A Simple Favor would receive a sequel, folks were shocked to see both actresses attached once more. Rumor has it they're contractually bound to return, so they asked for separate dressing rooms and restricted joint promo. Where there's that much smoke, it's hard not to suspect a 5-alarm fire might be raging underneath. A single feud can be overlooked, but what about 2, 3, 4? Blake Lively's name keeps cropping up in these tensions, leading some people to raise an eyebrow. Is she just caught up in a wave of negativity, or is there truth to the chatter that she's consistently difficult to work with? Let's turn to one figure who rarely dips a toe into celebrity gossip: Candace Owens. Candace Owens typically tackles political debates, cultural divides, and high-profile controversies. Yet out of the blue, she commented on Blake Lively's alleged PR maneuvers. According to Owens, Blake and her husband Ryan Reynolds employ a network of top-tier strategists, some with backgrounds in intelligence or high-level crisis management, to shape public perception. To many, that sounded outrageous, but it sparked a broader conversation about how celebrities use advanced tactics to keep stories under wraps or spin them in their favor. Blake Lively's squeaky clean image, designer gowns, witty social media spats with Ryan Reynolds, philanthropic gestures, could be the product of an ultra-sophisticated PR engine. This machine might be capable of burying rumors, massaging narratives, and swiftly shutting down controversies before they tarnish her brand. By itself, employing strong PR is hardly scandalous. Most A-listers do it, but tie it to repeated claims that co-stars find Blake demanding or overbearing, and it becomes a new dimension of speculation. Could behind-the-scenes friction and controlling behavior be consistently spun into an image of a Hollywood sweetheart? Are the rumors of feuds and creative conflicts simply overshadowed by a highly polished presence? These are questions fueling online forums and fan debates, as more puzzle pieces suggest that maybe all these quiet whisperings aren't so random after all. Yet to fully understand the swirl of controversies, we need to zoom out and see other smaller instances of rumored friction. A pattern might be emerging, and if so, that pattern tells us a lot about how Blake Lively wields her influence and recasts potentially negative stories. One hallmark of Blake Lively's career is that she's been strategic in nearly every role she's taken since Gossip Girl. Some might call it ambition. Others might call it a thirst for control. Over the years, small tidbits have leaked. Rumored battles with stylists who didn't comply with her fashion preferences, alleged spats with makeup artists, and hush-hush clashes with producers who felt overshadowed by her insistence on rewriting lines or re-choreographing scenes. Then there's the curious case of her relationship with the sisterhood of the Traveling Pants cast. Though the official narrative claims they're all best friends, fans notice that when Blake has a major milestone, like a big premiere, some co-stars show up to support her, while others are conspicuously absent. Of course, life schedules vary, but the discrepancy triggered a wave of questions about whether the original sisterhood bond truly remained strong, or if behind-the-scenes friction took a toll over the years. Rewinding further to Gossip Girl, sources close to the production once hinted that behind the scenes, it was less about teamwork and more about contending personalities. This was overshadowed by the show's success and the romance rumors swirling around the cast, but a few production members have implied that Blake had specific ideas for her character Serena's arc. They sometimes clashed with the showrunners, leading to rumored tensions that never made the official press interviews. One incident might be forgettable. Two, you can chalk up to coincidence, but seeing this same pattern pop up in It Ends With Us, Barbie, A Simple Favor, and beyond starts to raise eyebrows. Are we seeing a star with a strong creative vision who merely ruffles feathers? Or is this repeated chaos reflective of something deeper, like an unwillingness to compromise? Hollywood is built on image. For years, Blake Lively crafted a narrative of the gorgeous rising star, the radiant red carpet fashion idol, the witty partner to Ryan Reynolds. She's known to be tight with certain style editors, known to show up impeccably dressed at the Met Gala, and known for charming the socks off interviewers with breezy conversation. That's the version many fans adore. Yet, controversies are starting to slip through the cracks, especially in the age of digital scrutiny. If these rumors, Margot Robbie's silent pushback, Anna Kendrick's stony press tours, Justin Baldoni's exasperation, build enough momentum, they could eventually dent Blake Lively's pristine reputation. Some fans have begun questioning her sincerity, pointing out that no matter how many gorgeous dresses or comedic Instagram posts she shares, the repeated stories of behind-the-scenes clashes can't all be pure fabrication. Blake's defenders argue that men in Hollywood are rarely criticized for taking charge. They point out that wanting creative control or adjusting scripts for better roles isn't new, especially for women who aim to succeed in an industry historically dominated by male decision-makers. Perhaps the rumor mill is exaggerating typical negotiations. Perhaps the lawsuits and friction are standard artistic differences twisted by sensational headlines. Others maintain that where there's smoke, there's fire. They say that if multiple individuals, from Margot Robbie to Anna Kendrick, seem to keep their distance, that's a glaring sign. There's also the question of how many times legal trouble or accusations can surface around the same person before we accept that the common denominator is real. The final word on whether Blake Lively is a misunderstood visionary or an unyielding diva isn't set in stone. Each new project sees her stepping into the producer or director's chair more often, which could open doors to more rumors, or maybe prove she's better off calling the shots from day one. So, is Blake Lively truly the demanding, hard-to-please star rumored in so many hush-hush accounts? Or is she a savvy actress-producer who simply refuses to settle for less than her vision? Maybe it's a blend of both. Hollywood is notorious for amplifying drama. Sometimes real tensions get exaggerated for clicks, and sometimes star power can muzzle those who want to speak out. After sorting through everything, the Barbie meltdown, the rumored lawsuit with Justin Baldoni, the frosty relationship with Anna Kendrick, and Candace Owens' pointed remarks, it's hard to ignore the pattern. But the real question is, will these controversies catch up to Blake Lively's spotless image? Or will her polished PR fortress continue to weather any storm, leaving fans convinced she's still the shining example of grace and confidence? At the end of the day, everyone has an opinion, Yet the truth remains elusive behind the bright lights of fame. One thing's for sure, the next time Blake Lively headlines a project, fans and skeptics alike will be watching closely, wondering which version of her will surface. That scrutiny alone might shape the next chapter in her already headline-grabbing career.